Son of Washington podcast.
Daniels gonna take off, beats Burns, he's got a first down, but more.
You talk a lot. Cool dude, but he talk a lot. I don't want to talk to you.
He just like shooting a shit or talking about?
Nah, he just be talking like this. Hey, buddy, I don't want to talk to you.
I don't got no response for that. Yeah, I don't got no response. I don't know. Just go out there and I just have fun. I didn't say what was said. Like, hey, buddy, what are you doing? How are you doing? That doesn't sound like me. But yeah, we do most definitely. I like to have fun on the football field.
Can you even imagine a Commanders quarterback saying that they're starting off the season by having fun? What are we freaking even talking about? What's up, guys? My name is Ray. This is the Son of Washington podcast right here on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, and on Rumble. Rumble.com. Look, for the first time ever, the Son of Washington podcast is live. We've been doing this show for a whole lot of years, and we're really excited to have you guys here with us for the very first time live on Rumble. Do me a favor, if you're in the chat, say what's up. We got some of you guys are here. We got 30 or so that are watching on Twitter. We got 5 or 10 that are getting in here on rumble.com right now. We got a lot of great stuff to talk about. But chat, we're just really excited for you guys to be here on the very first Son of Washington Live. Texas Attitude's already in chat. He says it's a great start to the season because the Cowgirls lost. Texas Attitude, you're sounding like a little bit of a Redskins fan, my friend. Is that what we're talking about here? Are you pulling for the burgundy and gold or the Washington Commanders? What are you going to talk about it? Brian Burns, as you guys just saw in that opening segment, had a lot to say about his new friend Jayden Daniels and the fact that he did not enjoy hearing Jayden talk as much as Jayden talks on the field. Look, Jayden is a guy who's absolutely having a good time, as Jayden said at the end. I don't think he's like one of those like irreverent trash talkers, but it seems like he is definitely a guy that you are going to hear from, and you're going to hear about what he has to say about basically all of it. Burns didn't seem to enjoy it, but as you saw in that opening clip that we played, one of my favorite moments from Sunday, honestly, and there was some good moments. There were some bad moments too, but one of my favorite moments that we talked about or that we watched on Sunday was Josh Connolly Jr. gave up his first sack of the year, which is not a happy moment. And in the midst of him giving up his first sack of the year, on the very next play, Jayden gets free to the outside, and there is a photograph that I should have loaded up. I should have loaded up into the show to show you guys this evening. But Jayden Daniels just smoking Brian Burns, or you might want to call him Brian Burnt in regards to this one. Absolutely destroying Brian Burns around the end, and as he's running past him, he's turning around and smiling. You have to believe this is what Burns was talking about, not really appreciating, not really enjoying seeing how Jayden talks with, I guess, what do you say, the hey buddy stuff, and Jayden saying that hey buddy is not necessarily the way that he goes. But you know what? Good to see a rivalry coming back to life. This interesting things. Washington defeats the Giants on Sunday. We'll talk about that just a little bit here from the top. Washington beats the Giants 21-6 in their season opening victory against the Giants. This is the first time in over 20 years. Vaben Gamers, what's up, my friend? First time in over 20 years that the Commanders have beaten New York 3 straight. I think it goes back to like 1998, 1999. It's like 26 years or something like that, actually. The 99-2000 season where the Commanders have gotten 3 straight wins over their rivals up in New York. Lots and lots to talk about in this game. Jayden Daniels, 233 passing yards, 1 touchdown, plus 68 on the ground. That takes him just over 300 yards. Tex, I'm not good at math. That's more than 300 yards. Had a decent fantasy day, Jayden Daniels did. Not the best fantasy day of all time, but we're pretty excited to see that Jayden Daniels is still very good at football. I've been one of the more vocal, or I was one of the more vocal people concerned about his body build and body style and his weight and all of those sorts of things. And look, Jayden has proven me wrong time and time again. The biggest thing about Jayden Daniels, and it gets talked about all the time in Redskins Nation and in Commanders Nation, I guess is what we need to call it now. But the reality of it is this is a guy who's pretty smart with the hits that he takes, and he's pretty protective of his body. And so a lot of the concerns that we had about him being an injury risk because he has a smaller frame seemed to go away as the year went on. No doubt the rib injury that he took last year definitely had me on Twitter saying, see, I told you so, see, I told you so. I kind of chalked that up to being a little bit of like the Robert Griffin III hangover, a little bit of the RG3 anxiety that we have as Commanders fans. But the kid has been very good and has done a lot of good things to keep himself healthy. He also put on a little bit over 15 pounds of muscle over the offseason. Petey, what's up, my friend? Petey's in here. BCM comes in. RIP Charlie Kirk. Yeah, absolutely. It's a weird topic to open a football podcast with, but look, guys, I've been searching for the last several hours about like how I would even address this. And to be honest with you, I've had to stay off of social media outside of like basically pushing that we were bringing the podcast back tonight. And some of the things I've seen on social media about this Charlie Kirk situation have been some of the most dehumanizing and ignorant things that I've ever seen people say online. And, like right, wrong, left, right, like whatever color, the fact that we have people that are online right now and they're celebrating someone being just brutally assassinated. I didn't go looking for those videos, but those videos are all over the place and they're almost impossible to mix right now. The devastation of that shot to the neck is not what any of our human bodies are designed to withstand. And so you can say whatever you want to say. And I've seen people that have been saying some crazy things like, he got what he deserved. Maybe he should be. I just like, oh my guys. Good one says, as soon as I saw the news, I uninstalled the X app. It's been absolutely horrible. You're right. It's been pitiful. And I would just encourage all of us as people, as human beings, to do better. I think that whether you like them or not, we can all agree that his family and his children, young family who now will go throughout the rest of their life without their father, desperately need support and prayers. And it's not an awesome thing. It's a pretty terrible thing. And I would just encourage all of us, if you're watching this podcast right now, BC, I'm glad you brought it up because I actually toyed on whether I was going to like address this or not. Because here's the problem. Like, I'm doing a football show right now. And on the one hand, how can we possibly do a football show with this type of a tragedy? And then on the other hand, I don't want to be seen as like clip farming on this. I'm not. I'm just saying, like, out of all of these things, pray for the family, pray for our country, and like just do better online. Just because you're hiding behind a keyboard doesn't mean there's not a soul behind your fingertips. That's what I'd say. Yeah, it is 100% what it is. Yeah, it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. And so, it's just rough, man. It's a rough situation and you hate to see it. And so now I will do my very best to segue back into football. For those of you guys that are just joining us, BC in the chat just brought up the Charlie Kirk situation. Obviously, a terrible tragedy for our country today. Again, regardless of what side of the fence you lean on, Kirk, not a politician, maybe had some political power, but as far as we're concerned, he was just a dude. I mean, honestly, it's no different than if I went and did a rally and someone shot me. I mean, he's just a guy, and it's a terrible thing. Goodwin says it's not a political thing. It's deeply mourning such a horrific, tragic event that will change our nation's trajectory in history. BC says you said what you need to, and there's no shame in living. Yeah, and now we do it. But here's the thing. Here's how I'm going to wrap this back up. Here's how I'm going to segue back into it. I have had the unfortunate ability to cover this Washington Redskins, Washington football team, and Washington Commanders team through a whole lot of garbage. I worked very closely in the team during the Dan Snyder era, and almost every contact that I had at that organization is now gone. There's a lot of things that have been bad in Washington, D.C., and a lot of bad juju that's surrounded this football team for a whole lot of years. And for those of you who look at our country, and I would agree with you, and say that we are at just a really, really, really pathetic state. I know that football is a microcosm for life, and it's not that important, but I will say, as someone who was behind the curtain and saw just how terrible that organization was, and to see them mature into a successful organization, I would say don't give up hope. We still can find ourselves where we need to find ourselves, and we can find ourselves being who we need to be. So Again, my name's Ray. For those of you guys that are new to the show, for those of you guys that are watching on Twitter, I'm sure my Twitter for the last couple months has been a little bit interesting for some of my football followers because it's been littered with video games and entertainment media, and I love all that. And I made a pledge about 2 years ago on my Twitter that you guys are going to get a good conglomeration of all things Ray, and it's back into football season, and it's another season of the Son of Washington podcast. And so this is a podcast that was birthed out of my love for this Washington football team, this Commanders football team, over 15 years ago. The inception of this show happened in 2010. A lot of people don't know that, and over the last probably 8 years has been a lot more off than on, but we're really excited to be back. Tex says changed the name back. Goodwin says agreed. We're going to talk about that tonight because I actually do have some news on name change gate, but we'll get to that in a minute. We'll hook you guys with that. We're talking about the fact that the Commanders put a beating on the Giants, the first time in over 20 years that they've now gone 3 straight wins against the Giants football team. I'll be honest with you, man, Russell Wilson usually cooks us. He's a Virginia guy. He's got a lot of family local. When he comes to Northwest Stadium, the guy buys out like 200 tickets. And just for whatever reason, he gets up and has traditionally been a gamer against this Washington football team, this Commanders football team, this Redskins football team, back to his days in Seattle. Even, I believe it was when he went to Denver, which is a pitiful experience for Russell Wilson. They played a game in D.C., and we were winning, and they were down by 8 with like no time left, and Wilson throws like a 65, 70-yard Hail Mary for the touchdown, and thank God they didn't convert the 2-point conversion to tie the game, so they lost. But Russell has always done Russell things. Goodwin says, I'm excited. This is my first pleasure of seeing this podcast. I can't wait to see it progress throughout the season. Look, I'll be honest with you, Chris, Mr. Goodwin. This is what I do above and beyond gaming. So this is like, I got to knock some of the ring rust off of, but like if, as a creator, talking football and things I'm passionate about is kind of where I love to be. So Russ definitely gave me some fits on Sunday. There's a couple of moments that my son and I both were kind of biting our pillows and throwing our pillows and a little bit worried about Russ mounting a late game comeback against us, which he has done over and over and over again. But I will tell you this, football fans, Russell Wilson is absolutely done. He's completely done. He's cooked. I don't even know why we're looking at him on the football field anymore. The fact that Jackson Dart is losing any reps behind this guy that on Sunday looked absolutely confused for 90% of the game. Russell's trying to sidearm like he's Patrick Mahomes now. I guess you're trying to reinvent yourself, but it made no sense. Really terrible passes. Giants held to 6 total points. And that's not even the fullness of the story. Early in the first quarter, the Giants find themselves on 1st and goal within the 3-yard line and could not score. To be honest with you, the 1st and goal was the second part of that in goal situation due to a flag. I think the statistic is they had 6 or 7 plays within the 3-yard line and could not punch it in. Came away with 3 total points. Washington's defense on Sunday was something like we have not seen in a long time. Commanders outgained the Giants 432 yards to 231. Deebo Samuel had himself a day. Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt, or as we like to call him in these parts, Bill, had himself a day. The defense had themselves a day too. Some interesting milestones for the team. First time since 2000 that the Commanders did not allow a touchdown at home against the Giants and won. Again, like I said, it's their first 3-game winning streak against the Giants since 1998 to 2000. I don't know, that's a weird way to say it, but it's been about 25, 26 years. This is their 4th consecutive home opener victory, which is just amazing to me considering how pathetic these guys have been over and over again. Goodwin says, heck yeah, that's what excites me. Love seeing you gaming. So if this is your true form, yes, please. Wilson should sit voluntarily. He can't do that. I mean, there's no way that's ever going to happen, Goodwin. He's never going to sit himself out. I just really do wonder, and I wish Shimmy was in here in the chat with us, because I like Brian Dable. I like Joe Sheen. Like, I hate that they're on the Giants. I absolutely hate their Giants more than anything, but like, those guys are good football guys. All the behind the scenes stuff that we've seen at Dable for the most part, I think has been great. Joe Sheen, obviously, the Saquon Barkley negotiations didn't go super great for them, happening on live TV during HBO's Hard Knocks last season. But these are guys that are they've got a track record. I mean, Sheen, I guess I'm saying his name right. The guy was incredible in Buffalo. He's phenomenal in Buffalo. And I'll tell you this too. It didn't look like it on Sunday, but the New York Football Giants they're definitely, I think, the most improved team in the NFC East. I think that by the time the end of the season gets here, we're going to see those guys were a lot farther ahead than we expected them to be. But also they've been so bad, like that could be a 5 or 6 win season. I'm not expecting them to challenge for the playoffs. I absolutely loved their draft class. Loved them. Like, very excited to see Cam Scadaboo, dude. Is his name Cam Scadaboo, the running back, 44. Kid's a Mack truck. I definitely wanted to see him here in Washington. Although it looks like Adam Peters does Adam Peters things again and finds a late round jewel of a running back in Bill Jacory Krosky-Merritt. Guy had a great game on Sunday as well. Before we get into those guys, again, Jayden Daniels, 233 yards, 1 touchdown, plus 68 yards rushing. Kid, you can just ball. That's what we were talking about before we got into the secondary topic that we brought into. Jayden Daniels, what is there to be said about this kid that you can't say? One of the greatest, if not the greatest, rookie quarterback season in the history of the NFL, both statistically and in the wins-loss column, both as a leadership person and as a budding future superstar face of the NFL. Jayden Daniels absolutely crushed every aspect of the 2024 football season. I got to go to the Tampa Bay game, Tampa Bay playoff game, and I'll tell you, beyond the fact that the Buccaneers fans were absolutely devastated, and they played overall a pretty close game, obviously, to win by a field goal for the Commanders, that fan base walked out stunned, and also it's really difficult to hate Jayden Daniels. The kid seems to be able to say all the right things, and he just is a gamer. Tom Brady had some of the greatest things to say about Jayden Daniels that I think is actually possible. During the game and post game, he talked about Jayden Daniels' leadership. He talked about the fact that the guy's got complete and total control of the team, the offense. There is no one on this team that questions who the leader of the Washington Commanders is, both on the offensive and the defensive side of the ball. I think it's really important to see Jayden Daniels' relationship with Bobby Wagner, a veteran future Hall of Famer like Bobby Wagner, and to see the way that those two joke around with each other and relationship they have. Their lockers are close to each other. To see the way that Bobby's rubbing off on Jayden in the leadership aspect, and see Jayden applying that even early in the year. I think the thing to me that really was the most impressive thing as a Redskins fan, and this is something that we have not seen in a lot of years. They beat a division rival big by 3 scores. Basically, they don't allow a touchdown, they allow 2 field goals, and every interview, including the ones that started with Jayden Daniels in the post-game show as he won the LFG award, were, hey, great win, but we were very sloppy today, we have a lot of things to improve. We've not seen that in Washington. We've seen teams that over celebrate. We've seen teams that are not mature enough to understand that this is only one of 17 games, and Jayden Daniels, it was business as usual, and we're not happy with it. And now 3 days later, they get on an airplane and they fly to Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers on Thursday Night Football. That's going to be an absolute mess. Let's check in with chat. Goodwin says Daniels is so good even when he's not, and week 1 was not a good week for him. You know what, Goodwin? Can we talk about the fact that it was a bad Jayden Daniels week and he still put up 300 total yards of offense and led his offense to 432 yards of total offense? Zero says sliding through, hitting that thumbs up button, and is encouraging everybody in the chat to hit it. It's free. Yeah, do me a favor, guys, hit that repost button. Also, this is a new thing. If you're in the chat, Goodwin, lead the charge on this. In the about the show, in the about the podcast information below, there's a link to the brand new Son of Washington Rumble channel. We're going to be putting all of our Son of Washington content. We're live on the main page today. We might go live on the main page next week too, just to start offboarding and getting our football followers over to the football channel. So do me a favor, go hit that like button, hit that follow button on the football channel. We're trying to grow our presence over there as well. But again, 233 yards through the air, 68 yards on the ground. I'm not good at math. It's just over 300 yards of total offense that he had. I think it was like 20 to 25 fantasy points, depending on what kind of league you were in. Commanders outgained the Giants 432-231. Let's talk about some interesting big games from a couple of guys. We're going to go to Deebo Samuel first. Deebo Samuel absolutely showed up and showed off in his first game as a Washington Commander Samuel, 7 receptions, 77 yards, and scored a 19-yard rushing touchdown on that end around that we have seen over and over and over again. Here's the deal. A lot of people around the league left Deebo for dead. I've heard all summer long that Deebo is fat, that Deebo is out of shape. I've seen more fat Deebo memes than I care to even consider for the rest of my life. And I think on Sunday you saw that this is a guy in a contract year in a Cliff Kingsbury offense that is primed to absolutely explode. Look, I'm not a guy, I don't do consolation prizes. I don't do second place. I don't do any of those sorts of things. Goodwin says exactly that's my point. Samuel, who played a great game. I think this is not a week one fool's gold situation. I think that this is the exact kind of game that you're going to see all year long. Like I just said, I don't take like consolation prizes. I don't take second place. I don't take moral victories. But if there is a ray of sunshine, if there's a ray of hope for this Commanders team to be found in Terry McLaurin holding out for the entirety of the summer, and do not get me wrong, we saw how that impacted them negatively. Terry McLaurin, Jayden Daniels at this time, or at the end of the season last year, were so in sync that there's no way on that missed pass to Terry early in the game does not go for a 68-yard touchdown. It is automatic last season. Those guys are not on the same page, but you can see from these images here, we've got the Deebo Samuel highlights that are playing right now. Outside of that drop that comes up timely as soon as I bring it up, we're just kind of going through all of Deebo's plays right now. Deebo and JD are on a pretty good page. I think that Deebo and JD are probably on the same page that Terry and JD were at the beginning of last season. If there is something to be excited about with Terry sitting out, it gave a lot of time to Deebo and Jayden to get to know each other. When Terry gets in the groove, man, this could be a scary passing offense, an absolute scary fantasy offense too. Zero says no W on my fantasy football team this year, but I did have some last year. You mean no Commanders or no wins? Zero. You gotta let me know. Are you saying that you don't have any wins, or are you saying you don't have any Commanders? If there was a Commander to pick up in fantasy football, I think it's Deebo Samuel. Even above and beyond Jayden Daniels, who obviously there's a lot of great no Commanders. Yeah, I get it. Deebo is in a contract year, like I said a minute ago. Cliff is going to use him in 765 different positions. Deebo Samuel is about to be used as a running back, as a split back in the slot, inside, outside, motion, end around. And to be honest with you, we've all talked about the fact that Cliff Kingsbury is absolutely addicted to the screen game. Remember those comments about like the nice college offense that Cliff put Jayden in last year? Deebo is going to screen people into the absolute ground. Outside of Deebo Samuel, you cannot be upset at Ja'Cory Crosking-Merritt, the guy they're calling Bill. What about Bill? What about Bob? Bill, 10 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown on Sunday, including a 42-yard game ender, which if I were going to like nitpick Bill's game on Sunday, the fact that he went out of bounds on that 42-yard rush instead of staying in bounds. Even, I know he got hit out of bounds, but come on, guy, you got to know that. If you're going to take the hit, just go down, stay in bounds, let the clock run, burn those timeouts. It was actually a historic day. I'm not sure if you do or do not know this, but Bill's game on Sunday is the first time ever that a player that's been drafted out of the top 200 has rushed for 75 plus yards and a touchdown in his NFL debut. I don't think people remember this guy is a 7th round draft pick. He's not a 4th round. He's not a 5th round. He's a 7th round guy. The last time that we saw this kind of production late in the draft for a Washington running back was Alfred Morris, who came out with RG3. So I think this Bill situation is interesting for Jayden, even though it's in year 2 instead of the same year like Alfred and Robert were. But holy geez, guys. Bill, he did all this on 10 carries. 10 carries, 82 yards. For those of you guys that aren't good at math, he is averaging right now 8.2 yards per carry. And I got to know, why are we not feeding this guy? Austin Eckler actually got the start. I thought Eckler played great. Eckler had a quintessential, like exactly what you expect out of Austin Eckler screen pass late in the game, where he's like pinball bouncing off 3, 4, and 5 guys and spinning and juking. All the things are happening. But he got the start, and he got a chunk of the carries at the beginning. I think that somehow Cliff and DQ are still trying to hide Bill from people. But I'll tell you this, I did a fantasy draft about 2 weeks ago, and 4th, 5th round, I was feeling pretty good that Bill's going to fall into the 8th, 9th, 10th round, and someone took him in like the 4th round. There are guys that are all in on Bill. Zero says, crap, my brother-in-law has him. Game 1, 10 touches, 8.2 yards, 82 yards, and a touchdown. And I think he could have had more if we'd given the ball more. I'm really interested to see too. This is a wrinkle. And you can say whatever you want. I know that San Francisco fans are already out on B-Rob. I think it's terrible. I like Brian a lot. B-Rob was a phenomenal back for the style of back that he was. He's just not the style of back that Cliff wanted. There was a lot of talk towards the end of last year and into the playoffs that his indecision and kind of dancing in the background and then trying to power through it instead of being decisive and cutting and going and bursting, which he really doesn't have the same burst or the same cutting ability that Merritt has, even a little bit. B-Rob was a good back. He just wasn't the back that they were looking for. And so to see an explosive back and then maybe a more cerebral back in Eckler. They've got a couple other backs that can lay the hammer too. So we'll see like what Christian does and those different guys. But man, if this offense becomes a little bit more run balanced, I'm really interested to see. Could be the first time the Commanders have had a really good offense since 91. I know they had some good numbers in 2005. They've had some years here and there under Kirk Cousins where they won some conference or some division championships and different things, but they've just never been consistently great on offense. This is a good football team on the offensive side of the ball. There's questions for sure, but the things that are exciting to me, this offensive line on Sunday, absolutely lights out. The offensive line, man, Laramie Tunsil was great. I thought that you got the rookie and Josh Carnley out of Oregon who went up against an incredible challenge against Brian Burns. I am positive that tomorrow night or during the Green Bay game, whenever you watch this show, that you're going to see Micah challenging this rookie as they move him all across the defensive line against the offensive line. Man, I'm not as worried about Micah as I should be. I will probably eat these words. This is going to be one of those video clips that goes viral on Freezing Cold Takes and like it gets spread all over the internet because I say something really stupid. I know who Micah Parsons is. I understand the game-breaking player that he can be. I am as confident in this offensive line as I think I have ever been. And so we'll see what that means. And guys, for those of you that watch this show for years, someone tell my guys in chat, like this is as happy as Ray has been. I'm normally Debbie Downer and talking about all the things that are wrong. Zero says I have fantastic random draws. Yeah, Bill is first for now, and I am second. Guys, the offensive line, great game against the Giants' strength is their defensive line. Like, make no mistakes. They have got killers on the defensive side of the ball. So the fact that Jayden didn't really get hit that much, he did get that sack like we talked about. Connerly gave up a sack in his first game. We'll see if he can clean that up. It wasn't a devastating sack. I think he did get hit 2 or 3 times total against that defensive line in New York. So what, man? Burns is a monster. They had a really great draft pick. Dexter Lawrence. I could go on and on and on about those guys on the defensive side of the ball. So the offensive line played great. I think Bill slicing those guys up. And then Jayden, again, just working it, getting outside. He does this thing, man. And it's almost like Madden. It's like video game football. Fodub was in here. We'd be talking about this with Fodub right now. Jayden Daniels, once he gets out of the pocket and gets to the outside, whether it's the right or the left, and he tends to like to go to the right side, he gets corners in no man's land where as a defensive player, you have to decide, am I going to let Jayden Daniels burn me for at least 15 yards, if not 20 yards, probably a first down and more on the ground and let him run at me? He's probably going to beat me. He's probably going to make me look stupid, but he's going to do that thing. Or am I going to attack him, rush up, cut him off at the legs, and then leave the man open behind me and let him hit me over the top? That is the worst. Fodub says, look, I didn't even know you're here, Fodub. I just called you out. That's great. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Zero. Oh, your brother-in-law. He's in first for 9 years. I got you. I thought you were saying Bill. My bad. When Jayden gets out of that pocket, man, it's dangerous. And again, like I'm not trying to like glaze this guy right now. Like I really would love to sit here and tell you, here are the things I'm concerned about. And the things I've been concerned about is body build, durability, and overall strength. And one game in, that's not an issue. For most of the last season, it was an issue. He did miss one game with that rib injury. It also came out in the offseason. He did some sort of a commercial or an interview with a couple other players. I want to say I don't remember who was in there. I know Jayden was there. There's a couple other guys, and they were talking about the Hail Mary against Chicago. And Jayden says, "Yeah, and I did that with a broken rib." And that's the first time that we heard him actually say his rib was actually broken. But I digress. The offensive line played great. The defensive line played great. It wasn't clean, and the team has said it wasn't clean. Overcoming 12 penalties and like some really questionable clock management. The use of timeouts in this game, I don't even want to talk about it because it makes me so frustrated. Dan Quinn, you're a better coach than what you did in regards to timeouts on Sunday. I cannot believe that there's like 9 minutes left in the game in the second half, and you're already out of all of your timeouts. Goodwin says that Fodub is always there. He's like the wind. He's everywhere. We love you, Fodub. You are the best. 12 penalties, terrible clock management. But again, open the season, winning at home against a division rival, it far outplays losing at home against that division rival. Again, Bill, Deebo, great additions. Probably the two most impactful additions. Larry Tunsil. Between Tunsil, Bill, and Deebo. Also, really did like what I saw with Trey Amos. Went one-on-one and went on an island with Malik Neighbors a few times, and generally played pretty well. Quan Martin got cooked by Neighbors at least once. So yeah, Fodub says clock management was poor even for week one. I mean, even in the first half, the timeouts were getting taken way too early. Jayden at one point in time in the game is visibly frustrated and telling the sideline, "No, I have this. Let's just go." And they've already called the timeout. You got to believe that those things are going to get cleaned up. We didn't see them during the playoff run. We didn't see them at the end of the season. But new players absolutely kicking in. Tunsil starting to prove why we traded all those picks to get him. I still not my favorite trade, but how do you argue with protecting your guy? A lot of fans were very frustrated with drafting Tunsil in the first round. But again, when you look at the defensive lines in Philadelphia and New York, and at the time in Dallas, and now that Micah's gone, Dallas's D line is not as scary as it was for sure. But man, you got to protect JD against these guys. So the work they did on the offensive line, I think it's really clear that we're seeing mommies and daddies and grown-ups running this team for the first time in a long time. The last thing I want to talk about this Giants game, because it's going to kind of lead us into some talk into the Packers game, which is already here tomorrow. It's not on Sunday. These guys just played 3 days ago, and then they got on an airplane today and did other walkthroughs today. I think Dan Quinn said it hilariously after the game on Sunday. He said that Sunday night was that Monday morning was effectively Wednesday for these guys. No days off, right into walkthroughs, right into getting prepped for this Green Bay team. You got to believe that there was some amount of looking ahead. I don't know what that actually looks like, but there had to be some amount. Fodub says, could he hear the coordinator is my question. He kept clutching the sides of his helmet. It's hard. I think that's pretty normal body language for JD, though. Like, that seems to be like when he's getting calls, he kind of does that. I don't know, though. Maybe he was struggling to hear. It didn't really seem like that. It seemed like they were just sloppy. I think that's the best way to say it. That's the way that Jayden said it. That's the way that Bobby said it, and even DQ said. So we'll see. They're going to get tested because they can't play sloppy like that and win tomorrow night. They are not beating Green Bay in Lambeau Field playing as sloppy as they did on Sunday. 12 penalties is a loss. There's no way they commit 12 penalties against the Packers at Lambeau tomorrow night on national TV and come away with a win. But the last thing I want to talk about Javon Kinlaw, man. If there was a guy who was absolutely universally crushed and destroyed by the experts, by the media, by fans, it was the overpay that Adam Peters and the Commanders did to get Javon Kinlaw, and that guy was a game wrecker. He was not a game changer on Sunday. He was a game wrecker. This guy was in the backfield, eating double teams, causing havoc, causing destruction, closing lanes all game long. All game. In good weather at Lambeau. I know, tell me, not even cold at Lambeau. It's like Lambeau in the summertime. What a weird game that is. I was talking to somebody today about this concept, Fodub. Maybe you can weigh in on it with me. Currently, Thursday is the first game of the week. If Thursday was the last game of the week, then we wouldn't have teams playing on Sunday and then back-to-back on Thursday. I know that you want to give this special Philadelphia Super Bowl champion the first game, open the season. Maybe you do that in a way that's scheduled differently. But if every team opened on Sunday and then the first game for the Commanders had been against Green Bay on Thursday night and the first game for Green Bay had been against the Commanders on Thursday night, then they have an extended rest time to play again, which is what you just gave to Philadelphia, to be clear. Philadelphia played last Thursday night, and they've had a week and a half off to get ready for this Sunday. The Commanders will have played 2 football games. The Packers will have played 2 football games in the time since Philly last played. That's wild to me. I cannot stand that scheduling, but I also get it. If you don't have games on Sunday, Monday, and Thursday, and this year Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday, I guess this is the byproduct of it. You will definitely hear me crying about the short week, but I guess Greenbay could also cry short week too. I just do not love it at all. But Javon Kinlaw, what a game, dude. If they play this way, if they play, the defensive line plays the way that they played, and we got 116 people that are watching us on Twitter right now. Thanks for being here with us on Twitter. We got some homies that are in here on Rumble too. Guys, look, this is the first time that we've done this on Rumble. We've never done this podcast live before. This has always been a pre-recorded, post-produced show. So as much as I know what I'm doing, I don't know what I'm doing right now. Like, we're just trying to see how this whole thing wraps and how football talk runs. If Kinlaw and Payne can play the way they did on Sunday tomorrow night, the Green Bay Packers have 2 starting offensive linemen that are already on the injury report. And by on the injury report, what I mean is they did not practice today. Guard Aaron Banks and Zach Tom, neither of them practiced today. They're both on the DMP list. I don't know, man. I don't know if that offensive line is banged up and you've got that ferocity, that tenacity, that athleticism and the power from Kinlaw laying it down and causing havoc, and then Payne coming through, we could have some fun. We could absolutely have some fun in this Green Bay game tomorrow night. I do think it's going to be a good game, but we'll jump into that here in a second. Before we get to the Packers game, guys, there's one topic that we always got to talk about as Commanders fans. This is a topic that we've been going back and forth with. I mean, hell, like 15, 20 years, it seems like. For Commanders fans that are listening to the show or watching on Twitter, a lot of you guys probably know me from Extreme Skins. And during my time on Extreme Skins, which was the official message board of the Washington Redskins, it's still around. They're still calling it ES. I don't know. Whatever. It still exists. I just saw that the other day. But back on Extreme Skins, there was a thread that was one of the greatest legendary threads of all time, and it was the weekly report of the Fashion Police. And going back to at least 2009, maybe even earlier, 2007, if I remember, this thread had hundreds of thousands of posts. Talking about the uniform combinations. Are we going to wear white on white? Are we going to wear burgundy on burgundy? Are we going to bring back the gold pants? The gold pants suck. We love the gold pants. The gold pants aren't the right color gold. They're actually yellow, but they do match face masks. Face mask is also yellow. It's not gold. What are we doing? We need to fix the uniform. We need to go back to the old school uniform. Bring the spear back. Guys, it was ever. Goodwin says you're doing great for the first time doing this live. Keep it up. Man, we're trying to figure it out. So Commanders fans, Redskins fans, Washington football fans have always been obsessed with the uniform, and that went into super duper hyperdrive about a month and a half ago when President Donald Trump came out and said that the Commanders needed to change their name back to the Redskins, that the pathetic name of the Commanders needed to go. He even went as far as saying that he would block the Washington D.C. stadium deal if they didn't change their name back to the Commanders. Now, all through this time, majority owner Josh Harris has said several times, dating back to like the NFL honors last year, that the Washington football team, the Washington Redskins, the Washington Commanders have a great brand, and they're going to be going back to their brand this year. And boy, did they, bringing back their Super Bowl era uniforms. They're wearing them 3 times this year. There's 4 possible alternate jerseys, alternate uniform games. They're wearing these for 3, including Christmas morning against the Dallas Cowboys. This is a uniform they're wearing. The helmet stripes being back. As you can even see in my production for the show, we're partial to the helmet stripes, the gold face mask, the stripes on the pants, and even the sock. It's a look, man. It's a whole vibe, and it's a vibe that we absolutely love. Here is what the reports that are coming out. So there's a little reporting that we're going to talk about, and we're talking about a little bit of the rumor mill here in regards to this uniform. The reporting side, Josh Harris said that the team is going back to the brand. We know that the NFL has rules about like how you can change branding, and with the Redskins just changing everything to the Commanders back in 2022, they're only 3 years into, like, I guess it's supposed to be a 5-year timeline. However, the Jets just recently did something like this where they unveiled a a old era throwback, and then the next season went to it full time. 100% of the reporting from around the league, and even the guys that are locally on the beat, are talking about the fact that this is the preview of the uniform that will become full time next year. And I love it. Now listen to me. To all you Redskins purists that say that the name is wrong, I get it. I agree with you. Nothing's ever going to change Redskins. To those of you guys that say the helmet looks terrible with the W on it instead of the Indian logo, I understand that as well. But this is a great looking uniform. I love it. Danny says I'm here in spirit. Hold on, what were we talking about? Goodwin says too bad with the logo. Look, this is exactly what we're talking about. Texas Attitude says best uniforms of all time. Danny says I'm here in spirit. He's dying. He's been sick for a few days. He absolutely has been sick. But back to the uniform. I agree with you, Goodwin. The W is not the Indian helmet, but I mean, it doesn't look bad. It actually looks like it makes sense to me. To be honest with you, when the team was asking for drawings of what the uniform should be, this is literally very similar to one that I submitted to the team. To keep the uniform the same. And then on the helmet, back then it was that Washington football team W, which is a thinner version of this one. This is a better version of that W. I'm here for it. Some people have said that you could still put the W in the circle with the feathers and get closer. Here's why I think that you cannot. The NFL and the Redskins and now the Cleveland Indians, who are the Guardians, have all basically said that the native imagery and the native name is a problem. I know what the president said. And like, look, on the one hand, there's nothing I would like more than for Donald Trump to wave a magic wand and to bring the Redskins back to me. When all this went down in 2020 and randomly with no warning, we lost our team name, I legitimately felt like somebody ripped me off my dad's lap in 1991 watching the Super Bowl and took the Super Bowls away from me. Like, I felt like I lost my team 100%. So there's nothing in the world that I would like more than to see a sitting president wave a magic wand and give me my team back. And if you think that you're stupid. Like, I've been called all sorts of things this week for wearing the W on my head. I've been told I've lost my man card. I've been called the female reproductive organ. I've been called all these different things because I've said that I don't actually hate this W logo, and I love it. I love on the old uniforms the fact that they're bringing it back at all. It's fantastic, okay? Here's where I think they're going. And this is a little bit of tea leaf reading. This is a little bit of rumor milling. This is a little bit of breaking news. Sources that are in the Twitterverse. So if you're in Commanders Twitter, you've seen some of these conversations, but the Washington Commanders, who have doubled down and tripled down and said, even though they're going back to the brand, the Commander's name is here to stay, that they are embracing a winning culture and defining what a Commander is. And then if you look at what they've done in their branding and their marketing for season ticket holders, for in-stadium stuff, they made a pretty unique choice that seems to be the direction that the team is going in the future. For those of you guys that are like married to native imagery, this is the time to turn off the podcast because you're not going to love this. Here's what I believe is happening for the Commanders. Again, you see the old uniforms. Also, and I don't know when it comes through in this B-roll. I wish I could. Maybe I can scrub through and find it. So I apologize for jacking the whole stream up. There is a scene in this B-roll where they show you a part of the uniform that has not been revealed. They tease it, and I don't know if I'm the only person that's caught this. So let me try to find it. I don't know if I can. Where's it at? I think it's towards the beginning. This whole thing is predicated on the white or the burgundy pants with the white tops. But it does show us a tease, a very quick tease of the numbers on the burgundy jersey, which you're not wearing. There it is, right there. 100% that's the burgundy jersey. This is the number lettering. It's the same numbering that we see on the white jersey in the inverse. But there's been no actual official announcement of them wearing the burgundy jersey. It's not for sale. It's just been the white and the Super. I don't think that you're going to see it this year, but this is absolutely reinforcing my thought on the tease going back to these uniforms full-time next year. Here's what I think they're doing. If you look at this year's marketing, it's all gladiator. All gladiator. I think that we're going into leaning it away from the Native American imagery and adopting this gladiator commander imagery. Soldiers, armies of the north, Leonidas, Roman centurion, gladiator, whatever it is. You can see the Roman spear, the Roman gauntlets, the Roman architecture, and everything that they're doing this year. I'm pretty sure this is where they're leaning into the commander situation. And I also think that this is an absolute great way, guys, to bring the spear helmet back. I think that this is a way that gets away from the native imagery being negative and the native imagery being looked at as a bad thing and as a negative thing, and being able to rebrand that old brand that they've said is so great and bring it into something that's not going to be as controversial. So as the B-roll rolls here, this is what they're doing already this year. This is on all their season ticket packages. If you paid attention to the game on Sunday, in the stadium, all of like the fourth down chants, the first down chants, the let's get loud, it was all based off this branding and imagery, which I don't hate. I do not hate it. I don't mind these burgundy uniforms. I prefer the old ones. Do not get me wrong. I don't hate these. I love the matte helmet. I love that in our return to our actual helmet, you can see very clearly that it is a matte helmet. There it is. There's Jayden looking right at it. There it goes. It's a matte finish, matte burgundy with the traditional gold face mask and the helmet stripes. I pre-ordered and got that helmet as soon as humanly possible. It's in my desk at work right now. It's fan-freaking-tastic. So there's Jersey talk. Jersey news for the night. This is a team that's abandoning native imagery. Washington Redskins is not coming back. I'm not dropping names for the sources. You can go look for it yourself if you really, really want to. But people who are connected to the team on Twitter are absolutely talking about the fact that they are researching and trying out like gladiator style chants, gladiator imagery, and this could be the way we see them adopt and adapt to that traditional look and getting away from the native issues that they've had over the last several years. Tomorrow night, big game, national television. It's Thursday night football. Washington Commanders 1-0 against the Green Bay Packers 1-0. The Packers just absolutely destroyed the Lions last Sunday. They beat the Lions just about as bad as the Commanders beat the Giants on Sunday. And here's what we're looking for, guys. Is the Commanders defense real? Okay, is what we saw last Sunday against the Giants on that defensive line specifically a week one fool's gold situation, or is this real? Are the Commanders going to be able to replicate that shutdown performance against the green and gold? Packers have a new look defense. Micah Parsons, who had somewhat of an impact in the game on Sunday. Don't get me wrong, he did have a sack at the end of the game, but the sack's in garbage time. Quarterback just rolled. I mean, we're rolled out. Whatever. Like, 100%. Micah Parsons does not sack Jayden Daniels in that situation at all. Jayden's put on the afterburners, and he's gone. Both teams have momentum. Both teams are riding high. Both teams are on the upswing. The Packers have got to be pretty excited about the fact that their guy Love is healthy. He dealt with some injuries last year. He seems to be healthy and ready to rock right now. I'm really worried about the running game, if I'm being honest with you. Like the thing, Goodwin says, even if he doesn't produce, he distracts. What are we talking about? The Packers are scary this year. That defense is monstrous now with Parsons. I think that there's a lot of hype behind Green Bay. And I'll be honest with you. I can actually show this to you right now. I do have this if I can find where it went, where to go. We have it, believe it or not. I'm scrolling. Man, it went away. Here it is. Here we go. No one is giving the Commanders a chance at all. The scores are pretty much similar. Higher offensive game. I think there's going to be some defensive impact in this game. But when you're looking at it, one guy, one pundit, Dan Jeremiah here is picking the Commanders. Here's the thing. There's a lot of mojo behind the Green Bay Packers right now. There's a lot of hype, a ton of hype. Jordan Love looks great. You know, they got some offensive weapons back. I know they're still dealing with some injury at the wide receiver position. They seem to have a good running game. Their defense, obviously, when you add a guy like Micah Parsons, that's a huge shot in the arm. And more than anything, people in Green Bay and fans in Green Bay and players in Green Bay absolutely are believing right now. They are drinking the green and gold Kool-Aid. But if the Washington Commanders can go into Lambeau Field tomorrow night and steal a win, I think every bit of that hype and momentum transfers from Green Bay to Washington. I think if Washington pulls out a win tomorrow night, if the Commanders get a win, then you go to immediate Jayden Daniels MVP talk, and there's already been whispers of that, and you go to a fan base and a media outlet that is going to change the narrative of this entire season. You will not be able to turn on NFL Network, ESPN, CBS, or Fox News without seeing Jayden Daniels' smiling face plastered all over it. Okay? Jayden Daniels is the X factor tomorrow night. Is he going to be sloppy like it wasn't again? Like we just said, a bad game, a sloppy game for Jayden Daniels last Sunday still meant 230 yards in the air, a passing touchdown, and 60 yards on the ground. 300 yards of offense and a touchdown is a bad day. I'll take that 12 times out of 10. If he can go into Lambeau Field and play his game and get close to those 300 yards in the air and 50 or so on the ground, 2 to 3 touchdowns combined, this is a different conversation, Mr. Goodwin. Goodwin says those are all really close predictions. I agree. I don't necessarily disagree with them. But T-Mac is not going to play the same as week one. That can make all the difference. Well, I think outside of Jayden Daniels being the obvious like X factor question mark, like we just said, he is always the X factor. The game rides on what this kid does, and he plays spectacularly. The storyline going into the playoffs and through the playoffs into the NFC Championship game last year is that this is a kid who does not get shaken by circumstance. I think Jayden Daniels walks into Lambeau Field and is completely unscared. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing for him, but I think he walks in and he's cool as a cucumber. I think it's, in his mind, it's no different than playing in a home game, because we saw what he did when he went to Detroit. There was so much hype and so much talk about there's no way that Detroit's missing a championship game at the hands of the rookie Commanders. I mean, that one guy was laughing his head off, and how'd it go for him? It went terrible. Terrible. And when his weapons are what? Yeah, like, look, if Terry and Deebo show up tomorrow, and like, can we talk a minute about Noah Brown? Noah Brown is way more important than people give him credit for. Like, this guy is the guy that caught the Hail Mary that beat Chicago. And don't get me wrong, it's a Hail Mary catch, it's a tip catch. I get it, it's a tip drill. But he seems to be, when he's healthy, in the right place at the right time. You've got Deebo, Terry, and Noah. Those guys are pretty solid. Zach Ertz is still playing savvy football, although he did have 2 nasty drops. Zach did not have the best game in the world on Sunday, but still came with a touchdown. So then you have the running game to it to balance that out. I think the offense versus offense, like, look, Jayden Daniels is a better quarterback than Jordan Love. He just is. So, like, those two, advantage goes to Washington. Washington's receivers, I think that because of the injuries in Green Bay and Terry's inexperience of not being here for training camp, maybe those two are even. But if Deebo is actually back, that could be an advantage. The Green Bay running game is probably the scariest part, if I'm being honest with you. Josh Jacobs, who signed a 4-year deal in the 2024 offseason, 1,300 yards last year, 15 rushing touchdowns, added 36 receptions for 342 yards and a receiving touchdown. He was a Pro Bowler last year, and he played a heck of a game on Sunday. He did not play as good of a game as our friend Bill did, but he definitely had an impact on Sunday. That's the question in these two running backs, is what Bill did on Sunday able to be repeated against the Green Bay defense that may be better than the Giants defense overall, but I would argue that the Giants have a better defensive line. That's a question mark. And I think really the key to this game is what we saw out of Washington's defensive line, that front four, who so many times against New York got a significant amount of pass rush and pressure on Russell Wilson, who looked confused and old and lost all day long on Sunday while only rushing 4. I don't think we've seen the beginning of what this defense has in store under Joe Witt, and more importantly under Dan Quinn, who's a defensive mastermind. Micah Parsons has been talking about that all week long, how much he believes in Dan Quinn's defense. If this defensive line can set the tone for Bobby Wagner, if they can set the tone for the rest of these linebackers, and again, if we have a second straight week of solid performance out of Lattimore was great on Sunday outside of the dumb penalty. I think you get that with Lattimore. That's kind of a thing with him. Again, what we saw out of Trey Amos was great. Mikey Sanders still has his moments. Quan Martin, there's a lot of talk about Quan Martin, but man, I got to be honest with you. Like, I don't know. I don't believe it till I see it, and I haven't totally seen it yet. I did see him get cooked on Sunday, so that's leaving kind of a bad taste in my mouth. If the Washington Commanders D-line can be 75% as destructive in Green Bay as they were against New York on Sunday, I think these scores are still right, but I think that there's a lot more of them that should be going to Washington than what currently are. The Commanders can win this game. I've been having this conversation with my son for the last 2 weeks. When we go through the schedule, my son's been trying to count the wins. I've been doing my best not to count the losses. The schedule this year is absolutely brutal. Commanders have a first place schedule. They did not have that last year. I think the thing about the Commanders that you got to consider as you go into this year, specifically as you go into this week 2 matchup against Green Bay, there's a lot of hype, specifically in DC. There's a lot of hype among this fan base after they had such a magical playoff run, even though the Eagles ended it. I know they ended it. 3 fumbles will lose you a game 12 times out of 10. But to see the hype that's coming in and the general positivity that surrounds this fan base and this football team right now, we got to determine what's fool's gold in week 1 going into week 2. You just have to do that. You got to figure out what's real and what's not. And so does Jayden take the next step in week 2? Do the receivers take the next step? Does the offensive line hold? Those are the questions that come to me in this Green Bay game. But like I said, if my son and I have been talking about like wins and losses, and like I said, you can't expect a team that was nearly perfect on 4th down all last season to be nearly perfect on 4th down again. That'll change the landscape of every game. You cannot expect a team that had 6 or 7 off the top of my head, I don't remember the number, of last minute 1-score wins. You can't replicate those sorts of things. You very clearly had a much easier schedule last year than you do this year, at least at the beginning of the season. On paper, this is a very difficult schedule. So my son and I went through the schedule, and we're talking about the games that we should win and the games that we can win. And unfortunately for Commanders fans, most of the games on the schedule are can-win games. There are very few should-wins, as it seems right now. And tomorrow night, or tonight if you're watching this on Thursday or listening to this on Thursday, whether it be on Spotify, YouTube, wherever it is, this game is not a should-win game for Washington. It's a can-win. It's a could-win game. It's a could, not a should. And it would be very difficult for me to pick against them. For those of you guys that follow Vegas, I think the Commanders open tomorrow as like a 3.5 underdog by 3.5 points. That's also vaguely what home field advantage gives to the Green Bay. So technically they're even, but we'll see how that goes. Good ones in chat saying all kinds of things. The entire offense is going to keep gelling. It's going to get a lot better for him. I think the hinge pin will be discipline. If that clock management penalty performance carries over Washington's trouble, Green Bay is also not tight. Well, but no one's the tightest ship right now, Goodwin. Can we be honest? The first 4 weeks of the regular season have become the preseason. No one plays in preseason at all. They just don't. And so the first 4 weeks of the regular season are absolute funny money. And for that, is the advantage to Green Bay or is the advantage to Washington? Green Bay, you think, and on paper, they've got a better defense. They might not actually have a better defense. So the question becomes, can Jayden Daniels elevate the team against that defense? That's the absolute question. We're going to find out tomorrow night. Things we've been looking for, like I said, that Washington defensive line, if they can do what they did on Sunday against the Giants, even a third of that against Green Bay, I think they're going to be in this game. And then also Micah Parsons, how disruptive is he? I think that you're going to see him break through the line and apply pressure. The question is, how much does that pressure rattle Jayden Daniels? Like we said before, I think that if you go head-to-head quarterback on quarterback, Jayden Daniels absolutely is a better quarterback than Jordan Love, who's not a slouch. I like Jordan Love. He's fine. Wide receivers are pretty close, specifically Green Bay dealing with the injuries that they're dealing with. Green Bay's 2 starters that didn't practice this week, if those guys aren't playing, that could be a problem for them. If blood gets in the water for Kinlaw and Payne, that could be a problem. And then not just Kinlaw and Payne, but Wagner coming through, Frankie Louvu coming through, with Kinlaw eating up a lot of double teams and in some points on Sunday triple teams to free up Louvu and Wagner. As that defense gets in better form too, it could be tight. If you wanted me to give you my opinion, I think it's going to be like a 32-28, 30-27 type game. And I have to give it to Green Bay because they are the home team. But before you murder me, absolutely the Commanders can win this game. It's a can-win game, good win. It's not a should win. It's a can win, good win. Can win, good win, should win, good win. That's what we're talking about here. Guys, listen, I had such a blast being back for the Son of Washington podcast. Closing thought, man, if Jayden Daniels does Jayden Daniels things and the Commanders win this football game tomorrow, I think that the Washington Commanders become the team to beat until they fumble it. Like, you're going to see so much Commanders hype, so much Jayden Daniels hype. You're going to hear everyone talking about Deebo Samuel being in the perfect situation with Cliff Kingsbury. You're going to hear Bill or Ja'Cory Crosby Merritt stuff. It's going to be the feel-good team of the year, and it starts with a win tomorrow night. If the Commanders go 2-0, with their next game at home against the Raiders. I think it goes Packers, Raiders, Chargers, and the Bears on Monday Night Football. If they win tomorrow and can start stitching some wins together, 2-0 might turn into 3-0. 3-0 could be 3-1, could be 4-0 going into Monday Night Football against the Bears. And the Bears did not, I mean, man, I tell you what, I give Caleb Williams all kinds of crap. I will be, man, I'm not the biggest Caleb Williams fan in the world, but there were parts on what was that? Sunday night, Monday Night Football. The Caleb looked great, and then it looked like once the script ran out, he was completely lost again. Who knows? Can the Commanders start off 5-0? I don't think so. I don't think they should, but I think that they could. I think that they can, and we'll see. It all starts tomorrow night. Thursday Night Football, Amazon TV. Amazon Prime TV, I guess is what they're calling it. Green Bay Packers versus the Washington Commanders at Lambeau Field. The Commanders are in burgundy and gold tomorrow for the first time this season. Packers are wearing their winter whiteout in August. So that's what we got going on. That's what we know about it. Great win for the Commanders on Sunday. Great football talk tonight. Great talk about the uniforms. Super excited to also talk about tomorrow night. Guys, Son of Washington is back. Tell your friends, Goodwin. Tell everyone you know the Son of Washington podcast is back right here on Rumble and live on Twitter. I cannot wait to be with you guys sooner than you even know. We'll check you out next Wednesday night. Tentatively, I've already got some pretty great guests from the DC radio beat. I'm not going to drop names yet because it's not totally confirmed, but we got a great guest lined up for next week and then also the week after. Wednesday nights, 9 p.m., right here on Rumble and on X. Come check it out. It's the Son of Washington podcast. My name's Ray Smith. It's been super fun seeing you guys tonight.